was awakened to the prophetic in my own life. I experienced some prophetic dreams. It came with just so much revelation about how close he is, and that I don't ever have to question, like, if I feel far from him, he's far. No, he's always right here. He's always right here. He's so good. He's so loving. I felt a closeness to Jesus and an understanding of Jesus, like just his overall nature. I also just had this desire and hunger to just read the word, to be with him, to spend time with him. I became obsessed. That encounter changed my life, and I was just obsessed with seeking him and not more encounters. I really wanted to know with my brain that this was Jesus and the Bible is real. And so I felt the urgency of okay, he's not only bringing me back to him to get me right, but I am now part of this plan to spread the news.
So, prophetic dreams, did you get any other gifts of the Spirit other than prophetic dreams? I mean, that's profound enough. Kelly Alix, roller coaster enthusiast. Kelly Alix. Apparently you flew into Atlanta from New Jersey primarily so that you could ride roller coasters yesterday and then made the drive over. This is true, right?
This is very true.
In fact, not only that, you told me all this before when we're off camera, but you discovered this other world-class roller coaster in some random area in Atlanta that's closing down soon, and you're going over this afternoon.
Yes, I am.
After we're done here for that one. That is so much fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun hobby.
Roller coaster enthusiast. I love it.
Yeah.
I did not know about that, I don't think, until today. So that's a nice surprise, and I had to lead with that. But
I had a feeling you were going to do that, which is fine with me.
I think it's hilarious, and I think it's great,
Yeah.
and I think it's fun.
It is.
For sure.
It is fun.
But you sent a great video, and your video, it started out very similarly to some that we get. It's like, hey, my story may not be as grand as all some of these other ones or whatever, but, and I love it when that happens, because it's like, okay, it's got my attention now.
Yeah.
And it did. Our team loved it, and got on a Zoom call, and it's a short time later, and here you sit from New Jersey. Welcome, Kelly Alix.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
How you feel?
Great. I feel really great. The Lord is so good to allow me to go ride some roller coasters and have some time to myself. I'm a new mom, so it was like, he just made a way, he just made a way for all of this to happen, and just everything goes so smoothly. Everything just moves so smoothly, and I'm just always grateful for when that happens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got a supportive husband, and you guys have a 1-year-old now.
Yeah.
And son and husband are holding down the fort there. First time away from the baby?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, first time away, 2 nights away. But they're doing well. They're having a good time. They're going to the park today.
Oh, good.
With our neighbor, and lots of cuddles and fun time with dad. Video chats with mom here and there, but yeah.
Well, you'll be back before you know it, and hopefully this is a great experience. And I get to sit across the table from people who are experiencing God, and I get to ask questions around it, and I think I've got the greatest job in the world, and I love it. So tell me how you experience God.
I have experienced God in a lot of different ways over my life. But it wasn't until more recently that I experienced him in a very tangible, supernatural way. So I was born into a Christian family. So I'll just explain. So, my parents were never married, but they had me. They were together, they had me, and then they split. But thankfully, both of them got saved pretty close to when I was born. I don't know exactly the time frame, but they both found the Lord before I was born, and they both have some really incredible testimonies and their own experiences with God. My dad has encountered Holy Spirit in some really cool ways, and my mom hears from the Lord very clearly.
Really?
Yes. And so I could not get away
Now?
with things. Oh yeah. Yeah. Even now. Yeah.
You may have to submit a video for her.
Absolutely. If she would get on a plane, which I don't think she's ever been, she may have been on a plane once, but she's like terrified of heights. So
We'll talk about that
yes,
later.
I would love for her to come.
People have driven
That's true.
from further away than New Jersey.
That's true.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So they have, their own encounters. So I grew up like hearing stories, and I just knew that my mom heard from the Lord. Like I could not get away with anything as a kid. Like that's probably why I'm such a rule follower, because I'm like, my mom will know about this. Like the Lord will tell her. And but anyway, they're both Christian. They both got married to other people when I was pretty young. My dad got married when I was 4, and then my mom got married when I was 5. And so I gained, additional family members there, a stepmom and a stepbrother and a stepdad and a stepbrother. And then ultimately my little sister came along. So, but both families were Christians. I went to church with both families. Now I know, I did not know this, but the church that my mom and my dad got saved in, and that my dad continued to go to for a while, was a Pentecostal church. I didn't know that. But my mom and my stepdad, we went to a Baptist church. So, I didn't know the difference or anything. I just knew one was really big, one was really small, and like some weird things were happening over here. But, I didn't see a whole lot of it. I just didn't understand some of it. But I didn't find that out till later when I was talking to my dad about my current church, that was a Pentecostal church. I was like, oh my gosh, I went to a Pentecostal church. I always thought they were like kind of kooky, but I was like, no, I went there too. Anyway, raised in the faith, very much around the word, and we prayed. I remember my dad like laying hands on us when we were sick or something was wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I have
That's
some
awesome.
memories of that. So when I was exposed to it now as an adult, learning about these things, I kind of had these small references to be like, oh yeah, that is in the Bible. Like my dad did that, or you know what I mean? Like these little things that.
Good.
Yeah, it was really cool. I even went to a Christian school from 6th grade to 12th grade. So very much just surrounded by Christianity. Which was fine with me. I fell into that so easily and naturally. I was a rule follower. I really had this desire to just be good. I just wanted to be good. I wanted to be obedient. I didn't want to give my parents a hard time. I never really rebelled. I mean, my main issue as a kid was I was really sensitive. And so I cried a lot.
Yeah.
I cried a lot. And so I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was. And I mean, we didn't really consider it anxiety. My family didn't. But it came out in stomach aches. So I would constantly be like, my belly hurts. And that kind of became a joke in the family too. Her belly hurts again. She's probably just trying to get away with something, she doesn't want to do that or whatever. I don't know what they thought. But I truly was struggling. I was really struggling. If I didn't feel complete peace, predictability, I was sick. I just did not feel good. And so that was a huge part of my childhood and middle school, and just it kind of developed into a social anxiety too. So I would have these really bad stomach aches, and sometimes my mom would take me to the hospital, and she'd be like, I don't know what's wrong with her. And they would do tests. They did an endoscopy to see if I had an ulcer, and no, I didn't. And they just told me that I had nervous stomach. I don't know if that's I have to look into that. If that's
an official diagnosis,
I don't know.
condition that you can find in medical journals. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Nervous stomach. So I don't know, but that's what I had. And that's, just try not to, be so anxious, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything else. And I remember being in middle school, and anything that was out of the ordinary, even in elementary school too, just if there was a field day, and we're not in normal class, I was just a wreck. I was a wreck because it was I couldn't, there was nothing for me to grab onto to like know that I was going to be okay. I remember, in sixth grade, like we had I was in a new school, so which was already kind of frightening, but just having like a class trip somewhere, I think it was medieval times, just being so sick to my stomach on the bus, the ride there. And I remember being like, why am I like this? Like, what is this? You know, like why everyone else is fine. And I am like, I want to throw up. And so, you know, I knew something wasn't right there, but I didn't have words for it. So, you know, Christian school, have Bible class, chapel on Wednesdays, church, all of this stuff. You know, my parents were really good about praying and reading the word and, you know, teaching me, you know, really raising me up in the faith. And I so many things were instilled in me, which I'm so grateful for. I loved the faith. I loved Jesus as much as I knew how to. I really wanted him to be pleased with me. I really wanted to just do a good job and be obedient and not give him any problems either. Like that was just kind of like, as long as I follow the rules and I'm a good girl and, you know, I stay within the lines, everything's going to be okay. So anyway, I graduate high school. Now things are a little bit different because I'm not surrounded by this Christian culture anymore. I go to a public community college. I'm now pretty much my mom. I lived with my mom and my stepdad, and we moved kind of far away. So I wasn't seeing my dad so much and with them. And we had stopped going to church. There was some issues there. Like my mom and my stepdad were having issues. And I don't know, when we moved, we didn't find a new church, and we just didn't go anymore. So now I'm not in Christian school. I'm not going to church. I'm in public college. And I just had the thought of like, well, I'm just going to enjoy life now. I'm not going to really, I don't know what to do. Like I don't really have any urge to like go to church myself. Like I'm 18, I'm 19. I don't feel like going by myself, and everything's fine. I'm just going to enjoy life a little bit. And I kind of just tested the waters a little bit. And I mean, just a little bit. Like I didn't do anything. I was really straight edge. I didn't do drugs. I didn't have sex. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. And, but I just remember being like kind of part of the world a little bit. Like maybe I dressed a little bit differently, or, you know, I don't remember how old you have to be to get into clubs. I guess 21, but I started going clubbing, and then, you know, dating, and just not really seeking God. I never hid my faith. I was always a Christian. I knew that I wanted to marry a Christian man. I wanted to be equally yoked. I knew that I wanted to follow that path, but I just kind of stopped doing all of the things. I wasn't reading my Bible or anything. Like just kind of coasting in life a little bit. I started dating this one guy, and it was very serious. I was certain I was going to marry him, but it was very hot and cold. So we would be together and we would break up, and then we would be together and we would break up. And one of the times that we broke up, I remember feeling so broken and so empty, and being like, this is not healthy. Like I am making this person my everything. And when we're not together, I'm realizing that like he's a person and he has free will, and he can break my heart anytime, and I'm not okay. And I realized like, okay, God has to be first. Like he has to be first. I have to let God be what fills me, because I can't rely on somebody else to do that. So this time that we broke up, I started going to church. My mom and I went, and, you know, we started going together, and it was really good. My mom was going through something with my stepdad at the time. And so we were both kind of like in this heartbreak and like seeking God together. And everything seemed to be going well. But at night, I started having these like intrusive thoughts, which now I understand that this was a demonic attack. But I would be fine during the day, and then at night, I would be trying to go to sleep, and I would start having these thoughts of, you are going nowhere in life. there's nothing for you in the future. You're going to be alone. You feel empty. You feel empty now. You're going to feel even worse later. It's never going to change. Nothing's ever going to get better. Just very dark, very heavy. And I would be like, this is weird. I don't normally think like this. Like, I know I'm having a hard time, but this is a lot. And eventually I'd fall asleep, and the next morning I wake up and it would be gone. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but that's weird. That happened a couple nights in a row. And I'm just like, man, this is really hard. Like, this is really hard to kind of fight off, like, but eventually it goes away in the morning. Except one morning it didn't. I woke up and it was still there. And it was so intense, like so heavy and so intense. Like the thoughts that were coming in, like I wasn't agreeing with them. I wasn't like, yeah, that's how it's going to go. I was trying to fight them off. And I was trying to be like, no, like that's not true. I know that's not true. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, I know things are going to work out. Like I'm going to be happy. And it followed me to work. Like, I was at work, and it just was like getting more intense, like with each minute and hour that passed, to the point where I'm halfway through my shift and I'm in the break room, and I'm Google searching like ways to take my life. Like, it was so intense and heavy that I couldn't fight it off anymore. And I was just like, the only way this will stop is if I'm just not here. I never had any kind of suicidal thoughts before, like never. And so I just didn't have the strength to fight it off anymore. And so I'm now like on websites where there are people chatting about ways that they were planning to take their life. And I am like looking for a way that's like not going to hurt, like it's just going to be easy. Like, how can I do this and just get it over with, And I still hadn't really come to a plan, but I knew that when I got home, something was going to happen. Like, I had no strength to go through that another day. Like, it was just too much. So I pull up to the house. There shouldn't be anybody there. My mom should be at work. My stepdad didn't live there anymore. My mom and my stepdad were both there. So I walk in the house, and I think they were just in the dining room, like talking or something. And I just walk in, and I just turn, and I go right to my room, and I just get in my bed, and I pull the covers over my head because I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I can't. Like, why are they here? And my mom went in my room. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I just said, I don't want to live anymore. And she's like, get up. And so she pulls me out of my bed. She walks me into her room. She has wherever she lives, she has like an altar, like to the Lord. She has a verse about, I think it's the fruit of the Spirit, like this like beautiful, it's just like on wood. Anyway, she takes me over there, and we get on our knees. My stepdad comes in, he gets on his knees too, and they lay hands on me. And they pray for me. And this is weird. Like, I know that it wasn't an out-of-body experience, but I have that memory like I'm up here. Like I'm in the corner in the ceiling, like watching that happen. I don't have the memory of actually being there. So they're praying for me, and I'm just like, I don't feel anything spiritual. I don't feel like this is helping. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that they're stopping me. My stepdad says something to me, which now I believe was prophetic. But at the time he said, if you end things now, you'll never know what it's like to like hold your own child. And I was like, you don't know me at all. Like, I don't want kids. Like, why would you say that in this moment? Like, such a critical moment. Like, you would say something like that is not a reason to keep me here at all. And so I'm angry and I'm annoyed. And anyway, they finished praying for me, and I don't remember the rest of the day, but I don't know if it was my mom or somebody else or something that I just recognized, but it was like you started seeking God. You were attacked. Like that was an attack. And I was like, my mom probably said it to me. I don't know. So I was like, well, then I'm not going to seek God for a little while because I can't handle that. Like that was way too intense for me. So I stepped back and I stopped going to church and I just took it easy. I turned 21.
Did the overwhelming thoughts to end your own life subside?
Yeah. The intrusive thoughts did subside. I was definitely still depressed. I was very discouraged. I felt very empty. I had wanted a cat for a while because we've always had cats growing up. Well, we had dogs too, but I was more of a cat person, and it was the first time we didn't have a cat. And my mom surprised me with a kitten, and I mean that kitten like saved my life. Like literally, it gave me a reason to like stick around. It was like the only little bit of joy that I had. And so anyway, I turned 21 that following week. And I just want to note that my stepbrother, who was my stepdad's son, he committed suicide when I was 11. I didn't know this, but he took his life a week before he turned 21. And the day that I was going to take my life, it was a week before I turned 21. I didn't know anything about generational things. I didn't know anything about familiar spirits. Like I knew there were demons and I knew that like the enemy was real, but I didn't know any details. But when I found that out around that time, I just had this sense that there was a connection there. Like that was a very odd coincidence.
Yeah.
And I had the feeling that like there is something like in my family, something around us, like I don't know what the timing had to do with it, but like that felt symbolic to be like, I took him and I was going to take you. Like I just had that weird feeling. And so anyway, that was my first like real encounter, I guess maybe with a demonic attack on me in that kind of way. Anyway, I turned 21 and I never wanted to drink, not even when I was 21. I wanted to remain completely, straight edge for as long as possible for my life, pretty much. But I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Like, so I had a drink on my 21st birthday. I'm like, my boyfriend broke up with me. I just went through this horrible thing. Like, why not? So I have a drink and I go, oh, this is why people drink. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is so fun. Like, there are pictures of me from that night. I just had the biggest smile on my face because I'm like, I don't care about anything. Like, I don't care about anything. I could say anything and I don't care. Like, that was very eye-opening. So anyway, that definitely opened a door. Because that whole year was just really very, I just wasn't me. I wasn't me. I was drinking a lot. Anytime I was in a social situation, I was drinking. I wasn't really planning on talking about drinking for some reason, and we're talking about it. But just doing things that I wouldn't normally do. Being a person I just wasn't. Eventually, I got back together with that guy and everything was fine for a while. And now it was like every time we got together, it was like more intense, like with the love. And then when we would break up, it was more intense with the breakup. And so now we're back together and it's like really intense with the love. And I'm like, man, we're really going to get married. Like, this is great. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Out of nowhere, we break up. And I'm a puddle. I crumble. And I'm like, I did it again. And so now I'm on the floor and I'm just like, God, what did I do? Who am I? I'm a mess. And I just cried out to him. And I was just, it's like, I mean, at this time, like, I'm coming after you. Like, I really need you. And, I had nothing else to do. I wasn't going to make it. So I was in my Bible and I saw Jeremiah 29:13, I think. And he says, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I was like, you can't lie. You're saying this and you can't lie. If you're real, you mean this. And I say, I'm going to seek you with everything that I have. You better show up. Like, you better be real. If you're not, I'm not going to make it. And because at this point, like, I had never really, I saw God move in my mom's life and my dad's life. And like, I believed he was there, but then like, here I am, a mess. And I need to know for me that you're real. So I just throw myself at him and I start going to church and I'm in the Word every second that I can. And I'm praying and I'm looking for him. And I really didn't know what else to do, but just those things. And, you know, he was giving me revelations here and there, but no encounters or anything like that. I started like this, I call it a Bible study, but we weren't like studying the Bible. I didn't know how to do that, but I opened up my mom's home, you know, to have just friends come over and, you know, I'd have a snack and we would just kind of read the Word together and talk about it. And sometimes the Lord would give me, you know, like whatever I would read that day, he would give me kind of like something to talk about, like a message and we would just discuss it and like, how do we apply this to our lives kind of thing. And so we were doing that. Somebody gave me like a little booklet about the prayer of Jabez. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I was like, good, this is yes, like I'm going to pray this because I'm just feeling bold. Like I need the Lord to come through. And so I prayed that prayer and I believed it with my whole heart that I was like, Lord, I am trusting you that you're going to, and I don't even remember the prayer fully, but like, you know, you're asking the Lord to show up. And I didn't even know, I wasn't expecting any certain thing. I wasn't asking for any certain thing, but I was just like, I just expect you to show up. And that night, the next morning, I woke up to an email from that guy. I hadn't spoken to him in months. And I don't even remember what the email said, but whatever it said was exactly what I needed to hear to just kind of have a little bit of closure in a way. It wasn't like I don't think it was like an I'm sorry or I miss you or I love you, I want to get back. It was like, I have no idea what it said, honestly. But the fact that he said he was like never going to talk to me again. And I prayed that prayer and I woke up the next morning and that email was there. It just felt like, wow, the Lord knows me. He knows me and he knows the desires of my heart. He knows what I need, even when I don't even know. When I haven't even said anything, he knows. And like, this was a very clear, I asked him for something and he showed up kind of way. And that blew my mind. That was the first time that it really blew my mind that like, oh my gosh, we're interacting with God. Like, this is a conversation. So I'm just seeking the Lord. we're having this Bible study. Out of nowhere, I have this overwhelming desire to play the guitar. I have no idea why. Came out of nowhere. I was like, I have to learn how to play guitar. I have to be able to like get out emotion through playing guitar. And I took piano lessons before. Like I had an ear for music. But I wasn't like a music person. Like I wouldn't be somebody who was like, oh yeah, like music is my life or anything like that. But I was like, I need to learn how to play guitar. And so every free second that I had, like I would even drive home on my lunch breaks to like learn some more chords or like practice or whatever. So anyway, I'm learning the basics and I start writing these songs and they just start coming out of me. Like lyrics were just coming. Like there were times where I was just like, I can't keep up with like them coming through. And like a song would be there like in a couple minutes sometimes. And I'd be like, whoa, that's weird. And so that year I wrote like a bunch of songs, a handful of songs. And it was really exciting, but I didn't know what to do with them. And the thing is like I'm looking at these songs and I'm recognizing that the Lord is giving them to me, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with them because I can't sing in front of people. I can't. I am terrified. It's one of my like biggest fears is singing in front of people, and I don't know where that came from or why it is, but I just couldn't do it. And so I'm like, well, these are just going to sit here, Lord. Like, I don't know what to do. And at one point, I just felt so compelled that I was supposed to do something with these. So I just told my mom about them. I'm like, hey, I like have these songs and like, I'm pretty sure they're from the Lord, but like, I don't know what to do with them. She's like, well, play me one. And I'm like, I can't, I can't do it. She's like, I'm your mom. Like you can sing in front of me. It's okay. And I'm like, I can't. And I eventually, I guess, worked up some courage, and I think I played it for her. I may have even just recorded it and then let her watch the video. I don't even remember. But I got one of the songs out, and she was like, Kelly, the Lord is in that. We've got to do something with it. And I'm like, I knew you were going to say that, and I don't want to do anything with it. Like, can somebody else like sing them? Like, And so anyway, she's being mom and she's like trying to find producers and like she's making connections and all this stuff. And I'm just sick to my stomach because I'm like, I don't want to do this. But at some point, I pick up this book called You Were Made for a God-Sized Dream by Holly Girth. And like right off the bat, like it's about like if you know you have a passion or something, or maybe you don't, but you're supposed to do, so you're called to something, whatever it is. And she kind of like has a breakdown of how to get you there. Like she had me create a vision board too of all of the desires of my heart and stuff like that, and praying over that. And one of the chapters, it was like very soon into the book, it was like you need to do something that scares you, like just one thing this week, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just one thing that makes you like, I know I should do that and I don't want to do it. You need to do that thing. I'm very much somebody that has a comfort zone, like, and I don't like to move outside of that. It's very, very hard. But there is something in me that the Lord has given me that I want to be obedient, no matter how hard it is. I want to do the right thing. It's really hard sometimes, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And for me, that thing was, I would drive to work and there was this new place opened up called The Workshop. And it was like a music place where, it said on the windows, like guitar lessons, voice lessons, open house, open mic nights, or, things like that. And every time I drive by, I'm like, I think I'm supposed to go in there. And I don't want to, because if I do, I'm going to talk to the owner and he's going to have me sing, and I don't want to sing. And I just knew that was going to happen. And so when she said, you know, go there, or she said, do something that scares you, I knew that I needed to go there. And so I was like, all right, here we go. So I just stopped in there one day, and, you know, there's nobody in there. There's just the owner. And he's like, oh, hey, he's like playing guitar or whatever. And I was like, hi. And he's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I just wanted to pop in. Like, I saw this place was new. I pass it on my way to work, and just wanted to see like what it's about. He's like, what do you do? And I was like, I barely play guitar. I was like, I just started writing songs. And he was like, oh, great. Can you play one for me? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm going to die. And I was like, I don't know if I confessed to him that like this was an issue for me. I probably did. But I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, I did, because then, yeah. So I must have said like, I'm really nervous. Like, I don't like to sing. It's hard for me to sing in front of people. And he was like, well, it's just us. Like, go ahead. So I was like, okay, fine. So I play one song for him. I barely get through. I think I even cried. I don't know. And it was the first time I heard like genuine feedback from somebody who kind of knows what they're talking about on like my voice and like my abilities. And he was like, good. He was like, oh, the song's decent. And I don't think he wasn't a Christian, but he was like, yeah, songwriting's good. And he's like, your voice is fine. He's like, you don't have a very, you know, strong voice, but he's like, we don't need everyone to have a strong voice. He's like, you know, you sound like, and he listed off some artists, and he gave me some of her CDs, and he was like, listen to her music. Like, she's not like belting, you know, like he's like, you got something there. And he was like, listen, why don't you come? You can come here anytime. He's like, you want to play the guitar? I can set up the mic for you, and you can practice like just playing and singing. He's like, we can even record you and listen back, have you listen, you know, to what you sound like and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, God is good. Like, that's really cool. This is what I need. And so I started going there. I went there a couple times, and one thing that was really cool is they did have an open mic night, and I knew that I was supposed to play there, and I of course was sick to my stomach leading up to it. And then the day of, I had complete peace. Like, it's not normal for me to even just go about my day and not be nervous about something. And I didn't have any nerves at all. My stomach didn't hurt. And I remember my sister came over that day, and my now husband was there too. And I was like, guys, I don't even feel nervous. Like, this is weird. Like, this is a God thing, because I know for a fact I would be a mess, and I'm not. And I was like, okay, maybe it'll come later. And like, you know, the time's coming to when I have to go play at this open mic, and nothing. Like, I'm almost trying to make it happen, because I'm like, I know how to even make myself more nervous. Nothing's happening. And I go, and I there are quite a few people there at the open mic, maybe like 10. I get up there and I play one of my songs, and everyone's like, oh, that's great. Like, well, I'm like, how did I just do that? That was crazy. Like, I didn't feel anything. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. Like, maybe the Lord is going to free me of this, and so I can move forward. And so anyway, one time I'm at the workshop, and I'm playing, and he's recording me. And I leave that day. I think it was that day or the next day. The owner calls me and goes, oh, Kelly, guess what? He was like, yeah, after you left, yeah, it was the next day. He was like, after you left yesterday, he's like, this producer came into the studio and was like, just checking the place out. And he was looking for contemporary Christian artists that he wanted to produce. And he was like, so the owner was like, oh yeah, this girl Kelly comes in here. She writes Christian music. And he let him listen to like the recording. And I was like, you let him listen to that. And he was like, yeah, he left his card. Like, give him a call. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I don't know what's happening, but I have to follow it. Like, clearly the Lord is leading me this way. I don't know how I feel about it, but I've got to go. And so I call the producer, or I message him or whatever, and we schedule a time. We meet up. And, of course, he's like, oh, play me your songs. And I'm like, this is the problem, buddy. Like, I'm not equipped for this. Like, I have a hard time. And I was playing my songs, and I remember I even was crying because I'm just sick to my stomach. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not freed of this. Like, this is still going to be a thing. But he was like, yeah, your lyrics are, he's like, you're a lyricist. Like, this is good. And he's like, your voice is fine. Like, it's fine. Like, the thing is like, I can carry a tune. I know what pitch is. I can understand that in somebody else's voice and mine. And so I know where I fall short and what my weaknesses are. So for me to pursue something like this was like, this is embarrassing for me because I know that it's not my strength. But anyway, we produced this EP, and I'm proud of it. But I couldn't listen to it. Like, if I heard somebody listening to it too, I had to like run away. And like my friends will put it on, like, be like, oh, look who's on the radio, or like, look who's on Spotify or whatever. And I wasn't on the radio. But I would literally be like, please shut it off. Like, I had a physical reaction to hearing it. I was so ashamed of it. And anyway, I just kind of wanted to like make it and put it there, and if anybody wanted it, they could have it. But my mom and my producer were like, oh, we have to have like an album release party and like invite everybody. And I'm like, I don't want to perform in front of everybody I know. Like, this is the worst thing I could think of. So anyway, I do this album release party. I have to perform. It goes fine. Everyone has a great time. My producer says, okay, now you got to get to work. Like, you have to get over this like fear of singing in front of people. So you need to like play open mics, coffee houses, churches. He's like, I can't guarantee that you're going to make it. Like, I can't guarantee that you'll get signed somewhere. He's like, but I can put you in front of the right people in Nashville. And I was like, okay. So, I think it was either him or the owner of the workshop. They were like, does your church have a worship team or like a band you can join and just kind of get more exposure to like being on stage and singing? I was like, yeah, we have a worship team. And they were like, you should join that. And I was like, I can't do that. So, driving home from there, it wasn't even a prayer, but it was a thought in my head. And I said, if they make an announcement that they need vocalists for the worship team, then maybe. They had never done that, like, that I had ever heard. Like, never done that. There's just the worship team. There's lots of different people on there. They clearly don't need anybody, right? That Sunday, I go to church, and they're making announcements. And they're like, the worship team needs vocalists. So if you're a singer, like, please talk to me after the service. I turned to my fiance, I guess we were engaged at the time, and I was just like, just start crying. Like, I have to join the worship team. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, the Lord just told me I got to join the worship team. And he's like, that's great. Like, we'll talk to him afterwards. And I was like, what is happening? Like, I'm not having a good time. But I'm obedient. So I, he he's like, yeah, I tell him, my voice isn't really strong. And he's like, we have microphones for that. It's going to be fine, and I'm like, okay. And so I have to do an audition. Auditioning for something vocally was probably my worst nightmare. And because now someone's going to tell me it's not for you. Like, this is, maybe work on this. So I'm preparing for this audition, and I am sick to my stomach all week. I'm practicing as much as I can. I have like my little CD that, they're like, oh, you can either just come with a song that like the band can play and you can sing to it. Like, we'll have somebody play piano or whatever. And I'm like, no, I need to be able to practice this at home, so I know for sure how this is going to go. So I have to be mentally prepared to do this to the T. So I get to the audition, and there's no electricity at the church. So no microphones. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, that was what I needed. Like, that was my security so that I could, I don't know. I can't project. I can't do that. And so they're like, you're just going to have to like sing. You're just going to have to sing in front of us. And I'm like, this is my worst nightmare. And so they put my CD in like a laptop, and it was kind of like playing out of the laptop. And I'm just singing. I just have to sing to this guy. And I'm like, this is terrible. And they're going to say, it's no. But he was like, I think you're going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah. You're pretty much on the team. Like, we'll email you or whatever. And I'm like, what did I just do? So now I am on the worship team. I'm playing at coffee houses and churches, and this fear is not breaking. It's not getting easier. I'm getting better at just doing the hard thing. But I'm not, the only part that is satisfying is that I know I'm in God's will, and that I know somebody's being impacted by my obedience or by my songs or whatever. Like, I was always fine if I was singing with other people, but anytime I had to lead a song, the shame that would come afterwards was overpowering. Like, it was, I just could not stand the sound of my voice. And I was like, all of those people just heard the worst sound ever. And that was terrible. And it was distracting. I'm distracting people from their worship. And like, I just have these memories of just sitting in the car. Like, I would have to, sometimes I'd run off the stage after worship and not even be able to sit for the message, because I would be sitting in my car crying and just being like, just yeah, totally demonic. Just like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing. You should be ashamed. Like, why are you up there? Like, you're not a singer. You're, just all of these horrible things. And anyway, I sing at this event with some other people from the worship team. It's a long event. We had a really long set list. I felt like everything at that event went wrong to me. I couldn't really hear myself. Like, it was outdoors, and like, it was windy, and it started raining, and the wind like blew my music stand. My paper music went everywhere. So in the middle of a song, I had to like run after my paper and like pick up my stand. And I'm like so embarrassed. Like, now it starts raining. It's raining on us, and there just all these things happened. And by, me singing like is physically exhausting now. Like, because the tension and the anxiety is exhausting. Like, my body hurts. And by the end of the event, I walked up to my husband and said, I'm never singing again. I'm done. That was horrible. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And that was the moment, I believe, that I said no to the Lord. I said, no, I'm done. And I stepped outside of his will. I stepped outside of obedience. And that's when I started making my own decisions. So not long after that, I stepped down from the worship team. I was also part of the prison ministry. I would sing at the prison, the women's prison. And then I just stopped going to church because I'm just like, I can't do this. I did this for as long as I could, and my body is screaming at me like, no. And I was like, I just need a break. I just need a break from all of this. And everything stopped. Like, my interactions with the Lord, like, those clear interactions where I was like, wow, like he told me to do something, I did it. And then like this happened, and like all of that stopped. And that was okay, I guess, for me. I was just like, yeah, I just need a break. And so, my husband and I had just been married, so we're newlyweds, and I'm like, I'm just going to chill. And so we just started enjoying our marriage, and I just fall back into that, like, you're my everything, like my husband now, he's my everything. And I remember having the thought of being like, I don't even feel like I need God. Like, I normally seek him when I'm broken, right? Like, I have these like low moments where I cry out and I'm like, God, I need you. Like, and then he comes, and I experience that. And then, I'm just waiting for like the next low, because now I don't have any more steam to like keep up with this. So I got married. I had complete peace. I knew that the Lord brought us together. And it's like, oh, cool. Like, now I'm married. We started running the Bible study together. So I'm like, this is everything I wanted. I'm in the will of God. I'm serving God. I'm married to a godly man. Everything's fine. I can't do this thing that he wants me to do, and I'm done. And so now
with singing,
yeah. And so now I'm just going to enjoy my husband and my life. And it was a slow burn. And I had to share all of that with the music to make an impact of where we're going. But yeah, it was a slow burn. A couple years were just great, just enjoying each other, traveling, having fun. And I started to experience a little bit of an identity crisis, just kind of like who I am. Where's God? I don't feel him. I don't see him. Like, is he real? Like, I don't know. And, just there a little bit. And at one point, I don't know who proposed the idea, but I mean, Adam and I had talked about having children a lot, because he was always like, yeah, I would love to be a father. Like, we started out, he was like, yeah, I want to be a father. And I was like, well, I don't really want to be a mother. Like, how's that going to work? And, he was like, well, I'm not like dead set on it, but I was like, well, I would need you to be dead set in order for us to ever have kids. Cause like one of us needs to know for sure. But I was always like, no kids. I'm terrified of being pregnant. That was another huge fear of mine. I was absolutely terrified of being pregnant. It seemed like the worst thing that you could experience as a woman. That's the way I saw it. Like, didn't like it, didn't ever want to have to give birth. That sounded horrible too. And I really enjoyed my freedom. And I also knew that I wouldn't be able to handle like the stress of being a mom. So anyway, there was a lot there, and I was like, no kids. But at one point I'm like we're considering having a baby, because I don't even know why. I think I needed an identity shift, or I needed like something to like disrupt this wherever I was. And I can tell you, I did not have the desire to be a mother. That's not what happened. I wasn't like, I want to be a mom and I want to nurture a child. It was like, I need a change in my life. I need something to come in and shake me from whatever I'm in right now. Cause I'm just.
Yeah, but so you're leaving church to go enjoy your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys stop going to church?
Yeah.
Stop being in community?
Completely.
Okay.
So, my husband owns his own business, and so we were kind of exposed to some people that are very successful and very successful business owners, and I was learning that they a lot of them operate in the sense that like you create your own destiny. You can picture the life that you want and you can make it happen, whatever that is. And that really opened my mind to be like, well, they seem happy. Like they seem like they have everything they want and they're nice people and they're not Christians and they're, this is what they believe. And like, I think my spirit was discerning that like, you know, that's not right. Like you're supposed to submit to God's will. And, you know, but I was like, there's something there. There's something to that. There's something to kind of manifesting or going after what you want, in your life. And obviously it works for some people. So that kind of started me on this, just like opening my mind up more to, like what else is out there, because everybody believes something. And a lot of people don't believe in God or the Christian God or anything. So, I had gone through a lot of struggle, and I'll try to just zoom past that, but a lot of mental struggles. I got sick with COVID, and I was dealing with some other mental issues after that, where I was dissociating mentally. I was experiencing derealization, and I was disconnecting from reality, and I wonder what was going on there spiritually, but just a lot of mental struggle. And I was feeling really weak. I didn't know where God was and all of that. Was having a really hard time recovering from all of that. And now I'm kind of presented with these people who have everything in life and they did it themselves. And, you know, I would reflect back on like everything that I went through with the Lord and like all of this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what that was. I don't know. Now I don't know if that really was God, like answering prayers. And like, maybe I was just taking all these coincidences and thinking that I was supposed to do this and whatever. I just kind of just tossed it to the side because I was like, well, here we are now. And so one night I just looked up at the sky and I was looking at the stars and I just said, God, I don't know if you're there, but if you are, you see me, and you see where I'm about to go, and I'm going to look everywhere. I just ask that you would protect me and ultimately lead me to truth, but I'm going. And so to me, I thought I was going to kind of look into other religions. I thought I was going to explore this, you know, create your own destiny kind of thing and manifesting. I didn't really know where I was going, but I knew that I was stepping away from God and I was just going to look elsewhere. And I wasn't going to be afraid anymore of doing the wrong thing. I wasn't going to be afraid of all of the things that Christians say you should be afraid of and stay away from. Like I was just going to go. And because there's a chance that there is no God, there's a chance that Jesus isn't who he says he is. And I could find who I really am and like what I want, you know, if I just shut that off and just go. So that's what I did. But I didn't really explore religion. I found myself indulging in the things that I had always kind of been interested in, but I stayed away from because that's what I was told. Like, so I was always interested in the paranormal and the supernatural. And
really, from like how early?
Pretty young. I was wanting to watch horror movies from like a really young age, and like especially anything with like ghosts and spirits and stuff. Like I really loved ghost stories. I loved the mystery of that and like, what is that? And, you know, I was just really interested in that. I loved all of that kind of stuff. And so now I'm just going to do whatever I want. And so now I'm watching videos of, paranormal investigations. It kind of started there, I guess, and watching people trying to catch things on camera. Because I'm like, well, if I can see something that I can't explain, and I know like they can fake stuff, but I was looking for genuine reactions from them, like who were doing the videos. So yeah, I was watching these videos of, people ghost hunting, and I started to be drawn more towards even darker videos where people were not only ghost hunting, but they were trying to like invoke, is that the right word? Invoke something. They were trying to summon something. And they would say demons. I don't think they really knew what they were doing, but
I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this guy's, I don't know if he's trying to do it for notoriety, or I watched that happen. I was like, dude, you don't have any idea what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the people that I watched, their whole thing is like, we know we've experienced things that like we can't explain, and we just want to know the truth. Like we just are looking for truth, and we're just recording it, and we're letting you see it because we want the world to know the truth too. And I'm like, that's all I want.
Yeah.
And so, I'm watching these things religiously, like all day. I'm like, even when I'm at work, I'm like listening to it. I would fall asleep, listening to it. I really want to see something that I can't explain. And, because part of me was like, if I see something, then I know that even if it's bad, even if it's demonic, and they're saying, people say, oh, don't watch, horror movies, or don't do this. You'll open a door to the demonic. And I always thought that meant like, oh, well, like paranormal activity might happen in my house. And, but that wasn't even the case there either. Like I was indulging in like my interest in horror as well. So I was watching everything. I was only watching horror content, like nothing else.
Really?
Yes. And it was this weird hunger in me that like I couldn't satiate. It was very weird. And I remember noticing it too and being like, that's kind of weird. Like, doesn't matter how much I watch. Like I still I can't watch anything else. And Adam would be.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, searching for truth and trying to understand spirituality is one thing, but what you're describing is an appetite for dark spirituality.
It went hand in hand.
That's a draw. That's being drawn there.
Yes.
Versus saying, hey, I want to know if spiritual things are true. If there's an enemy of God, then God must be true, even though I haven't.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is that you've had times in your life that you've described where you observed that was God speaking to me.
Yeah.
That was God doing a thing. And now that you've kind of separated and this singing thing has kind of driven you away from that environment, it sounds like you're even questioning if there is,
Yeah, I was open to everything. And like Adam was in a weird place too. And we would just, I started smoking weed too. And so I was smoking every day. I never tried weed before. Like I was just, And,
really?
Yeah. And I had tried it, later on in life, like once Adam and I were married. And, the few times I had tried it, I had horrendous panic attacks. And I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
But I, at this point, fought through that. And I was like, no, I want to do this. And so I got past that. So my life at that time was working, going home, smoking weed, eating, watching horror. And while I'm high, while I'm not high, I am talking to my husband about like different possibilities of like, what is truth? Like, well, what about this? Like, did you consider this? And like, he is a thinker, and he's like, oh yeah, I've considered that, or I looked into that. And, we would have conversations about just all kinds of things and possibilities, and like, well, how would this fit in? Like, well, what about this? And so anyway, that's where I was, and it was only just getting darker and darker. And I started to like I don't know if it was social media, but I just started to see that like witchcraft was a thing. Like there are people practicing witchcraft, and
it's not just a pretend thing. It's actually power behind it.
Yeah, and I didn't even know really that either, but I liked the idea of it. I was like, I'm clearly drawn to the supernatural, right? Mm-hmm. I'm clearly drawn to also this darker aesthetic, and the darker things. And so I started to consider like, okay, just me naturally as a person, I'm drawn to this. So maybe I belong over here. And so I said to Adam, I was like, maybe like I'm a witch or something. Like maybe I need to explore that. And I started seeing that there was like a festival in my area, like a traveling fair of all like new agey things, witchcraft, occultists, like just all things kind of dark and spooky and weird. And I was just like, I love that. I got to go there. And just another thing that I was watching too. I was watching this Christian apologist who would interview exorcists. And I was like, well, this is like a happy medium, right? Like there's a Christian, but there's also like they're talking about demons. And so I was still kind of like, well, if the demons are real, then Jesus is real. So I don't know, that might be an option. It might still be Jesus, but like, so I was still seeking kind of that way too. But I was considering all possibilities, but I'm just also just trying to have fun and like do all these things that I couldn't do before because I was always following the rules. And so anyway, I go to this one festival and I just kind of like browse around, right? That's kind of, I was like window shopping the new age and occultism. And like even the ghost hunting stuff, like I could have done it myself, but I felt like there was still a part of me that was so afraid of opening myself up to it directly that I was like, I think I'm going to keep myself at a safe distance and just kind of watch. But so the first time I went to the fair, I just looked around and I would recognize things like, oh, I know like a Christian would say like, that's demonic, or like that crystal isn't, or like, oh, there's tarot over there. But I'm looking at it with new eyes too. So I'm kind of doing this double thing. But we're approaching Halloween, which had become my favorite holiday at that point. I loved everything about Halloween. And I had plans to go to that festival again. Like, I don't think it was on Halloween, but it was right around there. And it was going to be like really extravagant and like you could wear costumes and stuff. And the night before, Adam and I, we smoked something different and it was really strong. I didn't know that, but we were passing it back and forth. And before I knew it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is different. And I lost all senses. Like I went blind. Like I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I couldn't speak, I couldn't move my body. And I thought I was dying. Like it was so scary. And I just was in that moment, I was like, I'm going to die and I don't know where I'm going. And it took me hours to like come out of that. Like it was absolutely terrifying. And that was the first time where I was like, yeah, I don't know where I'm going. And that became a theme too of just every day being like, I need to know, like there is an absolute truth and we're not going to know until we're dead. And that's not fair. Like I need to know before I die. So that night, I thought I was going to die and I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And the next day was the festival. And I had texted a bunch of my girlfriends and was like, hey, can you come with me to this thing? Like, let's dress as witches and go as a coven. And only 2 people were able to come. And I have since repented and apologized to them for this. But we dressed as witches and we went to this fair. And it was everything. I had the best time. And I was walking around and there were people like doing a seance over here and casting spells over here. And it was so dark. And there were, Satanists and all, like everybody was there. But like I was like, these are the people that don't belong. And like, these are my people. Like, I feel like these are my people and this is where I belong. I walked around and I was just like, I've made it. You know what I mean? And anyway, because of the night before, I never smoked weed again because that was so terrifying. And I think the Lord allowed that to happen because then he opened me up again for the ability to like hear him. There's no way I would have been able to, I mean, he can do whatever, but being high all the time, you're opening yourself up to other voices for sure, because I was getting all kinds of weird theories about things. And so anyway, I stopped smoking weed, and that's kind of where there was no escape for me. I couldn't smoke weed. And now I'm just kind of forced to be with myself and my actual thoughts. And I was just so terrified of dying. I was terrified of my husband dying. I was terrified of just death in general. And, which is crazy because everything I was consuming, you know, entertainment wise was all about death. And now I'm just terrified of it. And so anyway, one night I go up to bed and I lay down and I start getting these intrusive thoughts again. And I didn't recognize it at the time, but it was the same experience that I had when I was 20. And these thoughts were coming in so rapidly. It was like, you're never going to be happy. You're miserable. Your husband's going to die early. You're going to be alone. You don't have any children. You don't have any family. Like, you are going to be miserable. The way you feel right now, hopeless and miserable and alone, is how you're going to feel forever. So you might as well just end it. It was so intense. Like, and I was depressed, like, in a way, but my thoughts weren't like that. This was different. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't fight these off. And in like an instance, like the light bulb went on and it was like, you're being demonically attacked. And it reminded me of that time that when I was 20, it was the same thing. And it was like every hair on my body like raised. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what demons do. This is what they do. And I ran downstairs and I just looked at my husband. He was on the couch and I didn't know how to say to him, like, there are demons in my room, like in our room. I just said, I'm utterly hopeless. And so he said, come here. And I came and I sat next to him and he said, give me your hands. And I gave him my hands. And this was kind of weird because one of the videos I was watching, these people would hold hands and, you know, try and speak to spirits and stuff. And so when he did that, he didn't know what he wasn't watching it. But when he did that, I think the Lord used that as a moment to kind of show the counterfeit of like, this is for praying. This is for talking to me. And so when he grabbed my hands, I didn't even know what we were doing, but he grabbed my hands and he started praying. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so he starts praying, which we hadn't done in so long. And while he's praying, I just feel this warmth come over me. And it was so distinct that I felt it come like down, and like I was watching like my arms as it was like coming through my arms and like into my fingers and stuff, and just this warmth came over me, and I'm recognizing it and I'm like, this is so weird, like what is happening, but it feels really good. And so I'm not even hearing what he's saying, but I'm just kind of paying attention to what's happening. And then he says, okay, now you pray. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. And it was like, just be honest and let it out. Like in my soul, it was like, repent. And I just came out and I just said, I like felt like a tightening in my stomach. And I was like, oh my gosh, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I realize how far I've come. Like, I realize how far I've gone from you. And like, you're showing me now that you're here and you're real. And I like just the realization of like where I had put myself was in harm's way. Like, I was in the enemy's hands, and this was not entertainment. This was real. And so I repented, and then I said, please help me. And when we were done praying, my mind went clear, and I went to bed, no problem. And it was clearly supernatural. I can't explain it, but I knew it was him. Like, he gave me a peace that I didn't have like a few moments earlier, and I felt it physically.
So cool that Adam's response to this was to pray over you. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like that's the space you guys were in. What came over him?
I asked him that a few times, and he just said, I knew that I couldn't help you in that moment. Like, he just knew that he needed to call on a higher power. And
tell me.
Which is not like him.
Yeah.
Because he is the problem fixer. Like, he loves to help people with their problems. So when I come to him and I'm crying and I have an issue, like, he loves to find the solution for me. And so he just knew. I mean, I think that the Lord told him, obviously. He instructed him without him knowing, but he knew that he just needed to pray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you feel, though? I mean, you said a warmth. Can you describe it in more detail?
Yeah, it's like, it was like the opposite of a chill. Like when a chill comes over your body and it kind of like, whew, like it was the opposite. And it just kind of rolled over, like, but it was internal. Mm-hmm. And I just remember specifically feeling it kind of trickle through my arms and like into my hands. But it brought me comfort and peace, and it felt really good. And all I know is that after that, those thoughts were gone, completely gone. And
the self-harm thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. All of those thoughts were gone, and I fell asleep like that.
How was that not just the peace of the love of your husband?
Right. One, because of what happened after, just the next morning, I knew that something happened. I was marked slightly in that moment where I knew something happened supernaturally.
How so?
It had, that's one of those things. It was just a knowing. I wasn't focused on Adam at all. I wasn't focused on his love for me. It was like, whoa, something happened there outside of us. And it wasn't Adam. And I mean, I was grateful that he prayed, but I wasn't like, thank you so much for praying for me. Like I wasn't thinking that he helped me. He played a part in what happened, but I
think of times when my wife was in the hospital once and really stressing out about her situation. And I remember going over to her and just telling her it was okay and calming her. And I watched her release that tension and anxiety because I came over and comforted her, and she felt that. I have also had times of what I feel like was God stepping in and creating that clarity you describe. And I wonder when people are on the other side of the camera here, it's like, okay, how would she describe that in a way that isn't a natural reaction? That's kind of the question I was trying to get to. It's not a natural reaction to there's been tension between us, and I'm having these thoughts, and I'm doing darker things, and now my husband's stepping in and embracing me and just loving me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not asking that question well.
I think because as it was happening and the days after, I had opened my mind up to it being God, like it was Jesus again.
Do you feel like that happened in the moment? That you were like, this is God?
This was God.
Speaking through 100%. My husband and
100%.
creating this peace?
Yeah. Like God, well, first it was the recognition of him grabbing my hands and showing me that it was the counterfeit. Like, this is the real thing. This is prayer. This is who you talk to. And I had been watching the counterfeit. And secondly, it was the him embracing me was like, you're real. You're here with me. I immediately recognized that I was wrong, that I had like gone far away from him, and I needed to run back to him. Like, and it wasn't like out of fear. It was like, I need my dad, you know? And it's like, you're showing me that you are here. You were here this whole time, and you let me, it was like, it was like a knowing of like, you let me go because you knew that I was going to come back, and now I'm coming back.
The other interesting piece of this to me in that experience is that when Adam kind of hit the ball over into your court and said, okay, now you pray.
Yeah. I don't know why I did that.
Well, but what came out is what's interesting. It's like, you know, God, please give us peace, and, you know, thank you for my husband, and, you know, help us to live in your alignment or whatever. That's not what came out.
No.
You were prompted to confess.
Yes, immediately.
You were prompted to expose the things. Confession is such a powerful tool in our faith.
Yeah.
It releases things to God that we've held on to. And it's in that surrender box over here, you know?
Yeah.
And I know the relief I feel when confession is a part of my prayer. When it's not just God asking me to help with something, but interestingly enough, in my prayer time this morning, I found myself confessing just to be in the most humble posture possible in my prayer. And it was a real freeing thing. All of it's interesting that you go to him, you have these thoughts, you go to him, he thinks to pray, he prays over you, you feel the Holy Spirit come through you, and you are prompted to confess. And then you felt the release of that confession.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And the fact that it was all like linear, and it was all him, like it was like he turned the light on to be like, this is a demonic attack. He instructed Adam to pray. He then enlightened me to show me that this was the real thing and this is the counterfeit. He instructed me to repent. Like, all of those things happened in that order because of him.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when things happen to me, I retrace what happened and like, what was the domino effect? Like, did I have any part in that? Or would that, there's no way that I could have made that happen in that way. It was very unlikely for Adam to pray with me like that and then tell me to pray. Like, it was just, So anyway, that was
well, in your case, and we talk about what's the purpose of demons, right? And
I definitely want to talk about that.
I think they intend to take you, to destroy you.
Yeah.
And to take you to hell. I think God's purpose for them is for them to cause you to turn back to him. And interestingly, that in both moments where you were having the most self-destructive thoughts at 2021, and then again now, the resolution that came was through prayer.
Wow. Yeah.
It drove you back to him. And in this case, you know, some, 10, 15, however many years later, repentance came with it.
Yeah.
Your eyes were opened to more of the truth in opposition to the counterfeit. Right? So what happened from here?
I was like, I know something happened. I know it's God. I know it's Jesus. I don't want to go back to church. Like, I don't know. I don't know where to start. But I know that he's there, and I'm going to now start opening my heart to him again and like seeking him in some way. But little by little, he was leading me, and he did lead me to church. It was crazy. It was through a song, actually. But he told, through the song, it was exactly my story of, being in the church and leaving the church, thinking I was never going to go back. And then, but it's like where I belong is like the faith that's in my bones. And when I heard that, I was like, I think I need to go to church. And my dad and my stepmom had been praying specifically that Adam and I would find a church for years. And like we tried churches out here and there. I couldn't quite go back to where I was. I knew that if I was going to go back to church, it would be somewhere new. But I had tried other churches and nothing really fit. I had now felt like kind of an outcast a little bit of like, I don't know. And like I would go in and I'd be like, I don't fit in here. I don't, And so anyway, I felt the Lord say like, search for a church. And I was like, but I've searched this area before. There's nothing here. And it's like, search again. So like I search and I see a church that's 15 minutes from my house, 60 minutes. And I'm like, why did I never see this one? Like I click on it. I'm like looking at the website and on the website, there's people like dancing and like flags and like all this stuff. And I was like, that's a little much, but I don't know. So I'm like reading it and I'm like, I mean, it seems good. It says non-denominational, but like, it's definitely there's more going on there. Right. So I send it to my dad and I was like, what do you think of this church? And he's like, oh, that reminds me of Calvary where we used to go to. Which was a Pentecostal church. And so I looked at the Google reviews and one of the comments, like they were all great reviews. And one said, this is the most Pentecostal church I've ever been to. And that freaked me out because I was like, well, it says non-denominational. Why are they saying it's Pentecostal? And that scared me because I was like, I know they speak in tongues. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. And like I knew tongues was real, but I didn't know. It just scared me. But anyway, so I tell my dad, I think I'm going to go to this church. And I tell Adam, and he's like, I'm not going. So I'm like, all right, I'll go. I was so sick to my stomach driving to that church. I almost turned around and I was like, what is happening? Like, I want to go. I want to seek God. But I was like sick to my stomach. And I was like, Lord, you need to help me because if this goes badly, I don't know if I can try again. Like I'm so afraid of the unknown now spiritually. I feel so vulnerable. I'm afraid of being deceived because now I just figured out that I was deceived. I was like, and so I was like, please, you need to be with me. And so I go to this church and I open the doors and the first thing I hear is somebody praying in tongues.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just like,
I literally was like,
here.
Yeah, for a second I was like, I can't go in there. And I just felt him be like, keep going. You can leave at any time. Just keep going. And so I keep walking and the pastor is right there greeting me at the door. And he's like, oh, hi. He gives me a hug. And I'm like, why is this man hugging me? Like, and he's like, oh, you new here this first time here? And I was like, yeah, just checking it out. And he's like, oh, great. Like I'm the lead pastor, but I just came back from India. So I'm not speaking today like someone else is. And I was like, oh, great. But so I find my seat and I sit all the way in the back and just people are coming up to me, like recognizing that I'm new and, just greeting me. And this one lady goes, oh, your first time here? I was like, yeah. And I'm looking at the little bulletin. I was like, there's 45 minutes of worship? Like that, I've never heard of a church doing that. And she's like, oh yeah, we love worship here. Like, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And she's like, yeah, buckle up. The Holy Spirit is here. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, buckle up. Like, I'm scared. And so, anyway, church starts and just right off the bat, I am recognizing it was a battle of feeling like I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm experiencing the Holy Spirit. And also, no, this is emotionalism. Like, no, this is like, this is just what I'm used to. And I'm just responding to it. Because also during that time, I forgot to mention my time of seeking, I was watching a lot of people's videos of them deconstructing their faith. And so I was kind of in that process too of like, oh, well, you know, in worship, it's too emotional and this and that. They're just kind of like creating the atmosphere, and this is all intentional, and just the idea of being indoctrinated, and like I was taught this my whole life, and this is why I believed it. It doesn't mean that it's real. So there was that battle of like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I'm not just the worship, like the team is great, but something was happening within me. There was a purging, like as worship was going on. It just felt like not physically, but it felt like I was being, like the Lord was trying to cleanse me, like to get this stuff out of me, right? And that happened for a while. It was like every time I went, it was just like, during worship, it was just like him filling me and like just getting everything else out. And I'm fighting it because I'm like, this isn't real. This isn't really happening. Like God isn't doing anything. You're just being emotional. You just like the worship here. It was really hard at first. But the message was, so for me, it was about believers like leaving the church and coming back. And so the message had me a wreck. And the pastor even said, he was like, I want you to receive this message however is natural to you. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to dance, dance. Like he opened up freedom to respond however you would naturally respond in that moment. And which was huge for me because I'm embarrassed about crying. You know, like I've been this crier my whole life, and but he was giving me permission, and I uncontrollably sobbed that entire worship message, everything, to the point where at the end, my head is in my hands. I am hysterical. He's saying, if you need prayer, come to the front. I can't move. My head is in my hands. I'm sobbing. And I just say, Lord, I need prayer, but I can't go up there. If you're really there and you see this, can you just send someone to me? Let me feel a hand on my back. A couple seconds later, a hand was on my back. Someone was praying for me. And I just broke down even more. And I'm like, no, this can't be real. This can't be real. Like, there was just this battle of like, you're there, you hear me. I'm ready to surrender, but I don't want to be deceived. I'm sure they do this for everybody. Like, this is just a coincidence. Just the battle in my mind. But I did keep hearing like, release, release, release. And I'm going, am I just saying that to myself? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, stop. I'm telling myself to stop. Like, stop, Kelly. You're just making this happen. And
I do know what you mean because I am the same way.
Yeah.
This is where a lot of my questions come from on here.
Yeah.
What makes you think it wasn't emotionalism? What, you know, it's all that. Yeah. I had that same sort of stuff. And I think God teaches us and encourages us and walks us into, hey, man, I understand that. Let that go. I've got something for you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear how it shakes out.
Yeah. So I'm a mess, and I'm like afraid to even lift my head because I know there's snot everywhere. But I lift my head and there's a little kid there with a tissue. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is crazy. So my first time there was incredible. A woman even sat and like talked to me for like the next 30 minutes. I got to share some of my fears with her, and the Lord sent her to me. It was amazing. And as I'm leaving, the pastor's still there. He's like, so what'd you think? And I'm just like, my makeup's everywhere. And I was like, it's amazing here. Like, I'll be back. And so I had a great time. And I was just like, there's something here. There's something here. And there's something with worshiping for a long period of time too. Like, it creates an opportunity there. So anyway, I go back the next Sunday and he's preaching, and he just shares on his trip to India, and he's talking about casting out demons and healing the sick and all of this stuff that I was not exposed to in some of my other churches. And I was like, the Lord was showing me, he's like, you have this desire for the supernatural and the demonic, but it's not to align with them and like be on their side. Like, I put that desire there for a reason. And like, you're supposed to cast him out, you know? And so I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way. Like, there were videos, like he had videos from the trip, and I'm watching them. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that looks like something. That looks like something. And so it was all very new to me. And I'm like eager to understand this because I'm like, oh, okay, I can be engaged in the supernatural, but it is with Jesus. Like it is in the church. So I'm very excited to like explore that. And I keep coming back every Sunday, and every event that they had available, I was ready to go to it because I just wanted more. I wanted to understand more, and it was still really hard, but I was ready. And, you know, I was getting, people had prophetic words for me, which was kind of new for me too. And that was exciting and wonderful. And, you know, a lot of it was like, you know, the Lord sees you and he's pleased with you. And
no, but it is. I mean, because the question is, how are you experiencing God? And I mean, when you're getting prophetic words, and people give me prophetic words to me.
Yeah.
I think I've had that happen outwardly a couple of times. And I feel like it's probably happened more than I give it credit for. I don't know how often I digest when I get something like that. Stacy, God wants you to know that he's pleased with you and what you're doing. You know, I'm like, yeah, right, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's something in me that's like that. I don't know that there's been many times where I have sat there and said, that's actually God speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time in my mind, it's like this person's trying to pump me full of good things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and they're being kind to me.
Yeah.
Did you, in any of those moments, did you ever feel like God was speaking to you in those prophetic words?
Yes. So, yeah. One of the events that I went to was called Fuel the Fire. And it was all about inviting Holy Spirit to come.
At the church?
At the church, yeah. It was like a Thursday night. And it was only the second one they ever had. And there was, you know, prophetic words, like there was a mic available. Like if you wanted to release a word, you could. There was praying for healing. There was deliverance. There's all kinds of stuff. And so, you know, this is all super new to me, but I'm just going because I'm like, okay, Lord, just show me who you are and what you have. And so I show up and I sit kind of far back. There weren't too many people there, but one of the ladies on the worship team was like, sometimes you need to step out in faith. And sometimes that just means even coming up a couple rows, like move to the front, you know, like expect God to move, but take the step first. Right. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get up and I go to like the second to the front row, like the second row.
That's lots of faith, right?
Yeah. I think that's where I was, but yeah, I moved up pretty far and, you know, it was worship and, anyway, I was just kind of in my own little world and I'm just sitting there. I was standing for a while and then I sat down and I was just kind of having a moment. And I thought about, like, Kelly, you have a choice to make. Like, you have to choose to believe. Like, we're done exploring. We're done tiptoeing around. Like, you need to just dive in. And I just sat there and I just put my hands out like this. And I just said, I believe in you. I believe in you. Because that was the song that was going on. It was, I believe in you, the God of miracles. And I was saying, I believe in you. And in that moment, I began to feel his presence on my body. And it was like what I experienced before, but like cranked up to like 1,000.
Like when Adam was praying over you, that before or another time?
Yes, that.
So
it was
you
that.
felt the warmth go down into your arms and everything else, but you're saying it was that multiplied.
Yes. And it happened, and it was like it was overwhelming, and it felt like he was like raining on me almost. Like his presence was raining down on me, and I'm feeling it, and it's going all over me, and it's like, it's incredible. It's not just warm, but it's electrifying. And like my body starts to like tremble a little bit. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, but what came with that, not just like this physical feeling of like safety and comfort, but it was like a knowing of how incredibly good he is. Like I didn't have that before. Like I think I said it out loud too. I was like, you're this good. You're this good. Like his presence just showed me and like opened my mind to who he is and like what his nature is like. And it was so good. Like I don't know a person that good. You know what I mean? It's like beyond comprehension of just how good and kind and loving he is. And so with the physical came this knowing, and it was like, and an understanding of his closeness, where it's like, I'm always here. Like I've always been here. And I'm soaking this up. I'm enjoying the moment and being like, this is crazy. And my body is just trembling so much to the point where I sat on my hands to see if I could make it like stop. Cause I'm like, am I making this happen? Right? Am I making this happen? Like,
exactly.
It's like, Kelly, when you leave here, you're going to be like, oh, you're going to find ways to, explain it away. So while you're here in this moment and it's happening, take note and try to like debunk it or whatever. So I'm sitting on my hands and I'm looking around and I'm trying to almost take myself out of the moment so that I can figure out what's going on. And I'm like, okay, I can make myself stop, but like, this is hard. It's hard to make it stop. And I'm like, it feels so good to just let it happen. So then I'm like, I'm just, whatever, let's just do what you're doing. Right. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm like, and it just was so amazing. And he was just loving me and filling me up. And at some point, the lady from the worship team, she kind of came down and she remembered me from the other couple Sundays, and she sat next to me and gave me a big hug. And I'm like, oh no, she's going to feel I'm like shaking, right? And she's used to it. So she's like hugging me, and she releases this prophetic just flowing of being like, she starts weeping and she goes, oh, Kelly, the Lord loves you. He is so pleased with you. He's so proud of you. And she says, you've tried so hard your whole life to follow him. And he's so proud of you for being obedient. And like, even when it was hard, like he was just giving her revelation for me. I hadn't shared my story with her at all. And I just break down and I'm like, oh my gosh, he has been with me this whole time. And I'm just sobbing and like, I'm like, he's so good. And then she leaves and the pastor's walking around and he puts his hand on my head and he just starts praying. He's just kind of like going around singing and praying, and he puts his hand on my head and I feel even more electricity. Like I like stomped on the ground like uncontrollably. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is crazy. But it was like, there's something going on supernaturally. And then it keeps coming. And I'm giggling and I'm sitting by myself and I'm giggling and I'm trembling and having a great time, but still kind of freaked out. And this other guy comes over and he's like, hey, I just came over. Like, I think the Lord told him to come see if I needed prayer or something. And I was like, I just have a question. I can't stop laughing. Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, that's the joy of the Lord. He's like, he's all over you right now. Like, just let him do it. And I'm like, the joy of the Lord. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I just embraced that encounter for a while, and it was incredible. And I left and I went home, and I felt like his presence was still on me, that I felt like if I like had just embraced Adam, he would feel it. And I did. I came home and he was sitting on the couch and I just like laid myself on him, and nothing, like he didn't experience it at all. But he was like, how was it? And I was like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And I think I tried to explain it, and I could see the way he was looking at me. It was like, I hear you, but I'm not really subscribing.
I'm in this whole thing with you as I listen to it. And my role. And the thing about it is, the question that I would ask here, you've already addressed. You pre-addressed it before you ever walked into that Pentecostal church, right? It's like, okay, that's the argument against that.
Yeah.
That's the environment of a Pentecostal church, right?
Yeah.
There's uber emotional things going on and dramatics and tongues over here and laughter over here and jumping around over there. And, you know, we see that on videos and it's like, okay, that's the environment. So let's steer clear of that because they're all crazy or whatever. Or, you know, I can see how someone, it's mob mentality, right? The thought is, given the right circumstance, you know, if there were an injustice and people began to gather around this injustice in a city center and people got really revved up or whatever, a non-violent person could get swept up in that and become a violent person, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, euphoria from a celebration, you know, could cause you to exhibit behavior that you wouldn't normally exhibit. It's this getting swept up in the environment that you're in. And that's what most people say with Pentecostalism is going on there.
Yeah.
Why was it not that?
There were not many people there, and nobody else was experiencing what I was experiencing from what I could see. And I wasn't really paying attention. I was looking around a little bit to kind of see like what else, like was anybody else experiencing this, you know? But I didn't go into that church knowing what could happen other than I was like, I think Pentecostals are a little kooky. They do like the falling on the floor and rolling around and the speaking in tongues and this church wasn't even labeled as a Pentecostal church. Like they're labeled non-denominational. Somebody just in the Google comments said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that I wasn't coming to encounter God in a physical way. I was just seeking him.
You weren't seeking the Pentecostal experience.
No.
You were open to experiencing God.
Yeah.
And it sounded to me like, and what kind of got me in some of your previous descriptions is you were very guarded against a lot of that going in. It wasn't like you were saying, oh yeah, let's go do this.
Yeah.
It was like, I feel welcomed here, but I want to be really careful about all the kookiness that goes on in places like this, right?
Yes.
It's the reputation it has primarily in the world really, but in denominational churches as well, who have a much more structured, put together, pre-planned worship service.
Yeah.
And the question is, how were you not just caught up in that? And I think you answered it well throughout the entire thing. I didn't want that.
I didn't want to be caught up. I wanted a sound, I don't want to say sound mind because that's scripture. You know, I did want a sound mind, but you can have a sound mind and encounter God.
It happens all throughout Scripture. And interestingly enough, when you were in the beginnings of this, before you kind of got this joy of the Lord thing that was going on there, the shaking took place, you extracted yourself from that and then observed it and was like, can I stop it? It's like, oh yeah, I can. Okay, but why do I want to do that, right?
Yeah.
I had a shaking take place one time. And I grew up in a Baptist church, and then went to a Presbyterian church after that. And if you thought Baptists sat on their hands, Presbyterians have that licked really good. And I was an elder, deacon, everything, and moderator of the whole deal for a good 15 years or so. And in that season, I went to Asbury when the Asbury revival was going on in Kentucky, and just to be there and to be in prayer and check it out. And I had a time where I shook, and it was weird because it wasn't like it was almost a shivering, like I was cold.
Yes, but you're not
like,
cold.
But I'd been wearing this North Face jacket for like 2 hours inside, and if anything, I was warm. But I'm still shaking anyway. And I'm like, is it just my emotions doing this? It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. And so I left saying, if this really took place, if I really experienced something, because, felt like something happened, I will know in the days to come and like continuing on. It will have an impact in my life. And it did. Everything changed after that. Everything.
Like what?
I was awakened to the prophetic in my own life. I experienced some prophetic dreams.
This started after this experience?
Yeah, actually, I think one prophetic dream I did have before that. I had a dream that I saw one of the worship pastors approach me, and it was very specific. He kneeled on the chair in front of me and was like greeting me. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh, like, that's cool. Yeah, I do want to talk to him. Like, worship's awesome, right? That next Sunday, I was crying, my eyes were closed, and when I opened my eyes, because people were praying over me, when I opened my eyes, he was kneeling on the chair in front of me.
He was kneeling on the chair in front of you, facing you, just like
that. I was like, what?
That's cool.
So cool.
So you started getting gifts of the Spirit after this encounter.
Yeah. So after that, it came with a just so much revelation about how close he is, and that I don't ever have to question, like, if I feel far from him, he's far. No, he's always right here. He's always right here. He's so good. He's so loving. I felt a closeness to Jesus and an understanding of Jesus, like just his overall nature. I also just had this desire and hunger to just read the word, to be with him, to spend time with him. I became obsessed. That encounter changed my life, and I was just obsessed with seeking him and not more encounters. Like, I really wanted to know with my brain that this was Jesus and the Bible is real and all of this stuff. So, that came with it, but also, more encounters. And I had a dream that felt more like a vision than a dream. It was very realistic, and it felt very serious, and it felt real. And I was, it was nighttime, and fire was coming down from the sky, kind of like these arrows, like just coming down. And when they would hit the ground, flames would just come over and like burn up the grass, like rapidly. And people were screaming everywhere, and there was just fire everywhere. And like, there was like nowhere else to go because everything was covered in fire. And when I woke up, I was like, that felt like a message and really intense. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I just took a note on my phone, like some of the notes of the dream. And when I woke up the next morning, I looked at the notes, and I was like, this seems like something out of Revelation. I had never read like Revelation before, but it just felt like end times, right? And so I Google searched some of what was in my dream, like in the notes, and the trumpets came up, and it was like the first trumpet of like fire coming down and like burning up the grass and the trees. That's what was so specific in the dream. It was like the fire would go across the grass and up the trees. And the verse specifically mentions the grass and the trees, I believe. And I was like, whoa. And I felt this urgency of like, the Lord is like, this is going to happen sooner than people think. Like, you need to get people prepared. And so I felt the urgency of like, okay, he's not only bringing me back to him to get me right, but I am now part of this plan to spread the news.
Yeah.
So there was an urgency there. I had another dream that was only just recently confirmed, but I had a dream about a family member. I don't want to say who because I don't know if they would want this information out there, but I had a dream that they were messing with oracle cards. Never heard that term before, but in my dream, I knew that they were called oracle cards. And when I woke up, I Google searched what oracle cards were, and they're similar to tarot, but they're like not quite tarot. I don't know. But I was like, that's weird. Why wouldn't if I made this up, if this was just my subconscious, it would have been called tarot because that's what I knew. Anyway, and in the dream, they were messing with these cards, and I went over and I was like, you shouldn't be trying to manipulate things in the spiritual realm. And they looked like they didn't realize what they were doing was wrong, and they put it away. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh, that was weird. Like, I wonder what that means. And I was like, I should probably talk to them about that maybe at some point. And so anyway, recently I've been praying for prophetic dreams, and I felt like the Lord was like, you didn't do anything with this one yet. Like, you should probably address that. So I did, and it was confirmed.
Really?
Yeah.
That was happening.
Yeah. Not happening now. It happened.
It had happened.
Yes. Yeah. And there's.
So prophetic dreams, did you get any other gifts of the Spirit other than prophetic dreams? I mean, that's profound enough.
Yeah. I just started, I don't want to say this is really a gift, because I mean, we can all do this, but the Lord just started speaking to me so clearly that I couldn't deny it was him. And I never encountered him like that before. And I don't hear a voice, not internally or externally. I don't get sentences that show up in my mind. Like it's a knowing, and I just know it, and I act on it. And then usually I'll get confirmation later. But like, things were happening that so I'll just share this one story. Cause I love to reflect on this and line it up when I think I hear from the Lord, I line it up with how I heard him this day, because it was clear as day. This was the thing. Like, so also, I was just kind of encountering his presence a lot too. Like, and I think he would do that to get my attention, to then tell me something. And so it was like his presence would come upon me really quickly and like intensely. And I would feel this like this quick, like welling up, and I would cry, and it would come out of nowhere. So I would be like, whoa, like I know that's not me. So, it happened one morning. I went down and I was making my coffee, and while I was standing there, that happened. And I was like, whoa. And so I start kind of just like pacing around the kitchen. I'm like, okay, Lord, like, what do you want to say? And while I was walking around the kitchen, like the crying stopped, and like that feeling went away. And I was like, okay, that was weird. So I just wrote it off, and I went back to the Keurig. And as I was approaching the Keurig again, it came back. And I was like, whoa. And I said out loud, I was like, something over here is making me cry. And it was an immediate correction that it wasn't making me cry. It was grieving the Holy Spirit. It was like, I am bringing the Spirit to this area. Something over here is grieving him. And so it was just an instant knowing. And I was like, what? So I just start looking for stuff. I'm like, I look at my mug. I look at like the coffee I'm drinking. I know there's something over here that is grieving him. I open my cabinets, and I'm like looking around, because I have like, just spooky Halloween stuff and whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. I look to my left, and on the side of my fridge is this magnet from one of the festivals. And I'm like, okay. Like, I just look at it and I'm like, this magnet? No. But I look at it in detail, and it's this cat, and it has tattoos like all over its face, right? And I'm like, okay, Lord, like clearly it's not this. Like, I just knew that it had to be something obvious, right? So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what's upsetting you? And I'm like, okay, there's this over here, like there's a spider web here, and there's like a knife here, and I'm like, I don't know what you're showing me. And it's just like, look deeper, look closer. And so I go into the light, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at every little tattoo on this cat's face. And then I see it, and there's this upside down cross right under the cat's eye. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I never would have known that that was there if he didn't tell me. And it was like, that mattered to him, that was in my home. Like, I walked through that whole encounter so many times to be like, how did I make this happen? How did I make this happen? Because there's just no way. And I can't rationalize it any other way than he knew that was there, and he instructed me to find it and get rid of it. I mean, unless you have any ideas.
No, where I go and where I'm thinking with this is, how do you hear God? It's in the comment section so much on YouTube. It's like, I've been asking for God to show up or hear from him or whatever, and nothing. I don't even think he's real, and that sort of thing. I mean, what's going on there? What did you do? Did you do anything? Did he just choose you to hear from him as distinctly as it appears that you're hearing from him? What do people need to do to experience that kind of stuff?
Well, I will say that was a very specific time where I was experiencing all of these things, and I knew that it was related to encountering him at church at that event.
Right.
And I knew that this eventually was going to kind of not go away, but it wasn't going to be this intense. I just had that kind of awareness that like this is a special time, that
it's the
season, and he is showing me all the stuff that he has for me, and like gifts and things like that. But I had a feeling that like this isn't going to come so easily always, and I'm going to need to just trust him in seasons where I don't hear him so clearly, because in the past I haven't been able to. I've just been like, I don't know where you are. But so I mean, how do you hear God? You have to first of all trust that he does speak, and that you have the ability to hear him. If you have the Holy Spirit, you have the ability to hear him. And I think even if you don't, I mean, he speaks to unbelievers too. He encounters them and he saves them. So we are created with the ability to hear him. And he says that his sheep hear his voice. So if you want to hear him, know that you have the ability, and know that he is speaking and he wants to speak. And then you have to learn how he speaks and what he says and what is him. And thankfully I had a lot of that background already. So like I did have a lot of discernment when it came to things, because I knew a lot of scripture, but this whole way of hearing him was different, just like very clear direction. And for me, all I can say is that he was also showing me that I had been a sensitive person my whole life, sensitive to my surroundings, sensitive to opinions of others, all of these things, but that it wasn't a weakness, that he gave it to me, and it actually allows me to be sensitive to him and to his presence. And so that was just something that I began to be thankful for, was like, wow, thank you for creating me to be so sensitive, and I want to be sensitive to your voice, and I want to listen for you. But yeah, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it really does feel like your own voice, because it doesn't sound different to me. I've never had like this clear voice, like, no, yeah, I've never had.
Some people have that, but
yeah.
I got 2 or 3 words this morning, and you're like, how do you know that? It's not your thought. And it was related to scripture, and it was pretty clear, and it was a mine typically come in phrases or words. I never get paragraph downloads or anything like that, and some people do. I think it's different for everybody. I don't know. I think about your story, though. This door began to kick open the moment that you just opened your hands in church and said, I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you. A lot of people, when I see some of these comments, it's like, I asked God to do this and show up and do this, and I hadn't seen anything. He hasn't done anything, and he's not doing anything, and he doesn't respond to me. Maybe he just doesn't like me, and that sort of thing. And when I read those, I don't know these people. I don't know their story. I really don't. But all I see in that is gimme, 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 gimme.
Yeah.
I want this for me. I want. Every time that I hear that God is speaking or moving in someone's life, what precedes that almost every time is, I just want you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving myself to you.
Yeah.
I turn it over to you. Surrender, the old crazy Christian word that nobody likes, right? Until you experience that and what it's like to live flowing in the stream rather than trying to paddle your way through the stream.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what surrender is for me. It's the posture of I crucify myself with you, for you. I want you to live through me rather than I want you to give me these things and this blessing and these experiences, that sort of thing. You didn't ask for the experiences.
No.
You just said, that's it. I believe I'm yours.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment that he began to pour himself out to you in all these different ways. So I would say my own experience and what I see in interviews here is like, if you're wanting to encounter God, don't demand that you encounter him or he encounter you. Give yourself to him and let him operate, right? And that's what I heard in your story.
Yeah, repentance and belief, they're very powerful.
Yeah.
And when I look back, that's what happened. First I repented, and then I believed. I believed in him. I professed that, and then he encountered.
And then you let him.
Yeah.
Right? You could have said, I'm going back to my Baptist church. And and he I'm not going to experience a thing like that.
Yeah.
You can close yourself off, I think, to the ways he moves. And when we pre-limit him, we limit him.
Yeah.
And, not that we're limiting God, but if we choose to turn him off, he gives us a choice to choose, I think. But when we remain open to him, I think those doors kick on open. That's how I see it. And hey, I know he can break in anytime and do anything he wants to. And sometimes he does that. There's something in the whole conversation that's been like gnawing at me from the start and now, and this may be a part of it, but there were circumstances in your childhood and into adolescence and into early 20s and into that time, that season of music, and being on the worship team at that church and all that stuff, and then this allure to the demonic and darker things and being a witch and maybe that's my people and all that stuff of demonic oppression that followed you, that people would pray over you and you would get some relief, but that it was never, to my knowledge, confronted and extracted. Did you ever experience deliverance from this?
Yeah.
Have you addressed it?
Yeah. So that's where we're heading next, which is really exciting.
Roll Tide. Let's go.
So, so it was really amazing because all of this stuff is happening. And so when that pastor came and introduced himself to me, I said, I was like, wow, worship, the worship here is incredible. Like, I didn't realize this is what I was looking for. Like, and it's not that the band is like super anointed. I mean, everybody's anointed. I mean, they're incredible, but it's the fact that they have this setup where there is plenty of room for Holy Spirit to come. There's time. There is space up front for you to worship however that is, flags, dance, lay on the ground and cry, like whatever. And so when I said, I was like, this is it. And he said to me, wow, you're the real deal. Like, I don't know why he said that, but when he said that to me, it confirmed that like there was something in me that was recognizing there should be more, like, So anyway, that just confirmed. And I was like, wow. So I told them, I was like, yeah, I used to be on a worship team. And they were like, oh, well, we got to get you up here. And I was like, I don't know about that. Would you believe like a couple weeks later, I was up on that stage? I mean, the Lord moved me quickly. There was something that happened after I encountered him where I was like, I have to worship you. Like, I have to worship you all the time. So I was reading the word. I was worshiping. I was also digging deep into why is the Bible like trustworthy? Like, why can I trust that? Why can I trust Jesus? Like, really just digging deep and asking all the really difficult questions, watching hours of videos and people debating different religions and Christianity and all this stuff. I just wanted to really know for sure, because I knew that I was going to throw myself at this. And I just wanted also the foundation of why too. So anyway, he leads me to join this worship team, and they were so gracious. I told them about like just the issues I have, and they kind of eased me into it. And I didn't have to sing any solos or anything. I had a great time just up there worshiping, and I recognized immediately that there's something in me that wants to encourage worship. And I was like, okay, God did put something in me for this whole music thing, the songwriting, whatever. I know that he put something in me, and it's worship, and it's not performance. And so I had this new focus on just worship, and was enjoying being part of this team and everything. And anytime they would be like, hey, do you want to maybe lead this song? I'd be like, and I'm like, kind of try. And like, it was like just completely, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. I wanted to cry right there. I wanted to leave. Like, it was terrible. And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not ready. Eventually, I think I did lead a song, and just, dealing with the same things. And I'm going, man, this is still here. And so one night there was a women's ministry event, and I was asked to come and sing with this other lady who was going to sing and play piano. And she asked me, she's like, can you lead this song? Because it's hard for me to sing and play this one at the same time. And so I said yes, because I wanted to be obedient, and I knew the Lord was asking me to step out. So I agreed to it. And all week I'm practicing the song, and I'm getting sick to my stomach. And the day comes, and I have a migraine all day. And I know that it's because I'm just so stressed out. I'm sick to my stomach. I have a migraine. It won't go away. And I'm going, I can't do it. And like, I've never not gone through. The last time I said no, my life went to, but I texted her, and I was like, I'm sorry. I can't come. I can't do it. I have a migraine all day. And I wasn't going to get into the whole why, but I just was like, I don't feel good. And I was so mad at myself that I, let this woman down, and that this fear still had a control over me. And I was saying no to things the Lord was telling me to do. But anyway, that whole weekend, that was on a Friday. Saturday, I was still just really ticked off. And then Sunday, I stayed home from church because I was just like, still just so upset. I had such a bad attitude. And I came down in the morning, I made my coffee, I sat on the couch, and I had church up like on my phone. I didn't even have it on like the TV, but I just had the live stream going. And they start worship. I'm not even paying attention, because I'm just like, it's just on, but I'm not really listening. I'm not paying attention. And during one of the songs, my eyes start watering. And I'm not going to say I'm crying, because I don't feel like I'm crying, but tears start coming from my eyes. And I'm like, this is a weird sensation. And they start coming rapidly. And I am like, I don't understand what's going on, because I'm not invested in this right now. I'm not focused on the Lord. I'm not focused on anything. But anyway, I start crying, and it just gets really, really intense. Like, the tears are just coming. And out of nowhere, I have this thought, it's rude for me to be sitting on this couch right now. And I get down on my knees, like face down on the ground. And I'm like, what is that? Like, I know now that the Lord walked into the room. Like, his presence was there, and that's what my spirit was recognizing. But that wasn't the thought. And I didn't feel anything else. It was a thought of like, I'm being rude, just sitting on the couch with my coffee. And I got on the floor, and now I'm face down on the ground. These tears are coming out. Now I'm sobbing audibly. I'm like crying really loud, and nothing is satiating. Like, it's not stopping. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm asking the Lord, like, what are you doing? What's happening? And nothing. I don't get any kind of understanding. And it's just increasing and increasing to the point where I'm now like screaming. And I don't think that it's like involuntary. I think that I was just trying to like snap myself out of this or like satiate this feeling. But I'm crying so hard that it's so loud. I'm like, Adam's going to come down here any second and ask if I'm okay. And out of nowhere, I feel something come up my throat and I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, whoa. And I get up and I run to the toilet and I throw up. And I don't throw up. I just don't. Like, I haven't thrown up since I was a kid, other than the times that I was drinking too much. But anytime I'm sick or nauseous, it doesn't happen. I've even like tried to make myself because I'm so nauseous and it never happens. So I didn't have any stomach discomfort or nausea. I didn't feel sick, but out of nowhere, I felt something coming up and I ran to the toilet and I threw up. And I'm just sobbing and I'm going, Lord, please tell me what's going on. Please, what is happening? What is happening? And I'm begging him to tell me. And then I hear over the live stream, the worship leader says, like, fear has to go in the presence of God. Like something like that. Like, fear must go. Fear cannot stay in the presence of God. And I was like, what? Like, is he telling me that like a demon just came out of me? And I was like, that makes sense, but it also doesn't, because I don't, and I believed at that point that Christians could have demons, but I didn't think that I had one anymore because he encountered me and I was experiencing all these things. But I'm like, I'm dealing with fear this weekend, like really badly. So I just wrestled with that for a while of like, what was that? And, I mean, the day that it happened was memorable too, because it was on Mother's Day, but that's a whole other story about my son and how he came to be, but we don't have to go there. I don't think we have time. But yeah, I know I believe now from what I know that he delivered me of a spirit of fear that day.
Yeah. So, okay. That can absolutely, and I've heard many times where it happens like that. Have you gone back to like try to expose anything else that could have been attached with trauma in childhood or, the whole demonic side where you into witchcraft and all that kind of stuff? I mean, we encourage people to go through deliverance, and we got deliverance ministry partners that specifically do that, and they do it over Zoom and other things like that, and extraordinary success rates. I'm just wondering, I mean, I do self-deliverance.
Yeah.
Have you ever just like tried to turn the whole apple cart over and say, let's just find everything we can get?
Yeah. I mean, so my church has something called the Transformation Center, and it's all like deliverance, inner healing, that kind of thing. And so I did do that just to kind of make sure that nothing was there. And nothing came up at that point. I don't know if you remember, but on our call, I shared something that I experienced recently, and you were like, that sounds like you experienced deliverance. And I was like, again? Like, there could be more there, and
it's an interesting conversation. A lot
Yeah.
of people say, no, a spirit-filled believer, Holy Spirit,
No.
and a demonic entity can't coexist. And I've not seen the scripture that says that, but I have seen a whole lot of evidence that say that they can. Whether you want to say that they reside in different parts of a person or whatever else it is, I'm not sure. But I know many, many spirit-filled believers who have had nagging, ongoing, intrusive thoughts, behaviors, other things like that just tried to deal with it. And when they went and experienced deliverance, it was gone.
Yeah.
And you can cast those things out.
Yeah.
Spiritually. And so we just encourage it, right?
Oh, yeah.
If nothing's there and doesn't work or whatever, what did you lose?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
But if something happens and you get freedom from something that has plagued you for years or months or days or whatever else it is, if you've noticed behavior in you that's not me and I'm tired of it and I don't want it here and I don't know what I can do to get rid of it, do I just discipline myself into it? I would encourage you to reach out to a deliverance minister and see if they can help you walk through maybe where it came from and getting rid of it. Yeah. And I encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah,
I do 100%. It myself. And no, I wondered because there were things, plenty of things throughout, and a lot of we pick things up, I think, throughout our lives, and a lot of times we like to bury stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Sweep it under the rug, so to speak.
Yeah,
we just have a lumpy rug. we could have a smoother rug.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. So what else? How else is it? Things shaken out since all of this time? I mean, if you had any of the pull back into the darker things,
absolutely
or
not.
Self-destructive thoughts or any of that kind of stuff, is it gone? Are you living a different life now?
I'm living a very different life now. I love the Lord so much, and I'm so grateful that he not only just encountered me and reminded me that like he is so close always, and like when I don't feel him, he's still there, and I can trust that now. The spirit, I believe the spirit left, but I did still have some mental things to work through. I think there was like a renewing of my mind and learning how to turn those thoughts, like to surrender those thoughts, because I had come into agreement with them my whole life about like not being good enough and all of that. And I know the Lord is calling me into music and worship, and our church is going to start writing our own songs now too. And so I just feel like I fit. The Lord brought me here for a reason, to help them release worship music, and all of that whole, your story isn't a waste, even if you stepped away, and he uses all of it. And I know it all had to happen to bring me here and to hopefully encourage other people. But my life now is just, it's worship, it's surrender, it's seeking the Lord. It's, I'm also a new mom, so it's very much taking care of a little boy. But that is ministry too, and that's beautiful. And I experienced the Lord through that, through him. And it's wonderful. Absolutely no desire to even look at the darkness anymore. And I just want to, my main thing is I want to encourage people to seek the authentic, which is the Holy Spirit. And it's not anything. I mean, the devil is real. He is real. And I'm grateful that I didn't go too deep to experience a lot of things that other people have. But I did get a little bit of a taste, and it's not entertaining. He's not entertaining. Like the horror movies, like, sure, maybe a demon's not going to come out of your TV and like, manifest himself. And like, they don't want to be obvious. What they do is they get your mind off of God, and they get you distracted. And I think it's so important to fill your mind and your spirit and your ears like with things that are pure and lovely and good. The devil he's a liar and he's a deceiver, and he wants to get you off track. And the Lord is so good, and he has everything that you want, everything you could ever want and need. And so, especially if you feel a pull to the supernatural, I would just encourage you to seek the truth, which is the Lord. And the Holy Spirit has all of that to satisfy that desire in you.
A couple more questions, I'll let you off the hook here.
Sure.
When you felt like that was the spirit of fear that came out of you that morning, did that affect your approach to music? Do you still have that uneasiness in your stomach, or did it go?
Yeah, so I feel like it went, and I don't know if the uneasiness, yes, did go. The stomach feeling definitely did go. I don't get that anymore. The
Really?
the absolutely sick to my stomach. I still get nervous. Like, don't get me wrong.
People get nervous.
I get nervous.
But you had like some sort of kid diagnosed. What was it called?
Nervous stomach. Yeah, that was a demon for sure. Like, yeah, I for sure think
but
that.
But you don't have that?
I don't have that, no.
That left that day?
That left. Yes, that left. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was an old friend your whole life, right?
So long, yeah.
Nemesis, actually.
Yeah.
But it was something that that was just that's just what you experienced in anxious situations.
Yeah.
Cool that you don't do that. I checked out you got an Instagram page where you sing and play.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, I haven't posted on there in a while, but I'll get back to it when I have some more time.
Yeah, I may link it if you want me to, but
thanks.
or whatever. But
yeah,
it's going to be people watching you sing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was another thing. The Lord was giving me more songs, and so I know that there's more to do there, eventually. But yeah, it's just good that it always came full circle, because I was really confused there for a while.
Yeah.
Of like, why did you do all of that? What was that? Like, what was the music thing? What were the songs for? Why did you have me do all those hard, scary things that I didn't want to do? And then he immediately just tied it up in a little bow and was like, because it's in there and it's going to come out, and you just needed freedom first.
Yeah. And you had a spirit of fear in you that needed to go.
Yeah.
And we needed to reveal something that you had been carrying, and let's get rid of that thing so that you can do what I've intended you to do with this from the start.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, 100%.
What are you here to do?
I am here to reveal that the Lord is real. He is everything. He wants you. He wants all of us. He is a jealous God. I want people to take that seriously. A lot of people walk through their life not knowing what they believe and not really thinking about it very much. And I think that it's very important to know what you believe and why, because at some point, you're not going to have a choice anymore. Your life is going to end, and there is an eternity. And if you don't know that now, and you don't know where you're going, it is possible to know. And seek Jesus, seek and do the research. Just spend time and effort and energy in seeking him. You will find him. You will.
And I think back over your story, and you spent a lot of your life in a Christian environment, a good bit of your life not in a Christian environment. But it wasn't until one day that you had pursued him and laid yourself open to him that you discovered that you can actually experience the joy of the Lord in you, in your life right now before you get to heaven.
Yes. Yeah. That was so life-changing for me, that I don't have to just struggle to get to the end. Like, we can bring heaven here. We can bring heaven down. The kingdom is here. Like, he is in us, and we can experience so much of what's to come here too. And that, to me, makes life worth living. Like, I mean, without him, it's like, what's the point, you know? And he, just everything that's in us, everything that we desire is just in him. It's who he is.
And he has it for us now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really cool. Kelly, Alix, well done. Thank you for coming. Interesting that you have a You enjoy roller coasters. And you've had a little bit of a roller coaster previously in all the things that you would experience. And then you hit the joy of the Lord and a little deliverance. And it's got you in a new place. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you're probably a new creation, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And what would bring a Jersey girl to Alabama, other than roller coasters, is probably to share the joy of the Lord. And that's exactly what you've done today. So Kelly, thank you so much for carving out the time, revealing all the ways that you have experienced and unmistakably experienced God recently. And our prayer is that it resonates with people in such a way that they begin to pursue him in the way that you did. So well done. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Kelly's story isn't really about witchcraft, and it isn't really about fear. It's about the difference between believing God exists and actually knowing him. She spent years knowing about God before she ever really experienced him. And the thing that finally broke that open wasn't a perfect prayer or a perfect moment of faith. It was surrender. It was, I believe in you. That was it. So here's the takeaway. If you've been asking God to show up and it feels like nothing's happening, ask yourself what Kelly had to ask herself. Am I actually giving myself to him? Or am I just asking him to give me something? Maybe the next step isn't asking God for more. Maybe it's giving him more of you. Thank you for joining us today on A Stronger Faith. You know, this ministry is funded primarily by the generosity of people who've decided to support it, our donors. If you believe God's calling you to join us by becoming one of our supporters, you can find simple and safe giving options at astrongerfaith.org/give. And if you believe that you or someone you know has experienced God and might make a good guest with us, please let us know by visiting astrongerfaith.org/contact and by following the directions there. God may well intend to use your experience to bring thousands into the kingdom. Until next time, we pray that you experience the peace and the joy of God and that he builds a stronger faith in you and in those you love.